Welcome to It's a Woman's World, a show which discusses any and all topics under the sun from a woman's point of view. Our show believes that women should be treated with respect at all times and in all places. Here's today's moderator, Dr. Susan Strauss.
Greetings to It's a Woman's World. And as always, we are going to be bringing you a wonderful show today. I'm Dr. Susan Strauss. I'll be your host, but I am gifted with two other co-hosts that I would like to introduce you to. One is Candy Pettiford. Candy, glad you're here.
I am so glad to be back because I love this. I am a creative person and I want to be here for this.
And you can tell she's creative. Look at her. That's what makes her so wonderful.
Thank you.
And next to her is her daughter, Jamela Pettiford.
Yes, thank you.
Good to have you here.
Always, thank you.
And you know, one of the things that's always been such a delight about our show is that we have such diverse guests. Sometimes we have people that are our guests that represent social justice. Sometimes we've had law enforcement. We have had issues with cooking, for example. And today we are going to be dealing with the creative bent of It's a Woman's World. And let me introduce you to our guests. At the end, we have Alicia de Cruz. And Alicia is an artist using beads, and she is an Ojibwe woman. And next to me, we have Blanca de Cruz. Yeah, same last names. They're sisters-in-law. And Blanca is indigenous Mexica. So they have a little bit of a difference in their beauty of their art. But I would like to welcome both of you. I'm so glad that you're here with us today.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
absolutely.
We're honored to be here. Thank you so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you know what? I'm excited about this because how did you get started with this? I look at things and it comes to me and I go, oh, I can do that. Both of you, how do you come up with all these? See all this on the table here? Oh, this is beautiful. How do you get started?
So I'm originally a classically trained artist, and what just that means is that I can do clay, I can do pottery, I can do oil painting. I went to school for oil painting and glass art as well. And so when I did that, it just gave me a whole access to all these different mediums and different ways to see contemporary art and ideas as art. So when I did that, I got into my beadwork and I started saying, okay, I'm an indigenous nerd. I'm an indigen nerd, you know.
Indigen nerd, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
So I want to try to incorporate that into my work, and with other works I've done before, I've done like Pac-Man bracelets, Super Mario Brother bracelets, you know, things like that for the kids, and people have been really receptive. So it's just taking from my life, from my culture, and you know, other mediums that I've worked with before, including glass, because I have some glass things up here as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and then just also all the identity politics that are at play here as well. You know, I'm a two-spirit, trans, autistic woman. You know, it's like a whole thing. So I'm trying to incorporate all those experiences into what I do and how I do them.
Beautiful.
And before we go to you, Alicia, maybe you could just hold up this piece of art
Yeah.
here so that everybody can see it and get an
I love
idea.
it.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
What, is that a dragon? Or
Yeah, so it's actually a figure of indigenous
more towards the
Mexico
camera, turn more
mythology. It's Quetzalcoatl, our Lord and Savior, as we say in Mexico.
Yes.
He is the feathered serpent who created the heavens and the earth and gave us the gift of fire. And in this portrait, he is going up towards the heavens to one day come back and save us all.
All right.
So,
Quite the story with it.
so I like to call this piece Quetzalcoatl Rising.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so mine's a little bit of a different story. I've been doing beadwork since I was 7. I was taught from my aunts and my grandmas, which is very typical in the native culture. And I do have a lot of traditional imagery, which for the Ojibwe, that's floral and that's usually on a black background. And so I have some pieces that are like that, but a lot of my stuff, it's kind of evolved to be more of a modern beadwork. And I have a lot of symbols and items that you wouldn't think would be traditional Ojibwe. But I very much have been doing beadwork for a very long time. And I stopped for a while, got back into it when I was a little bit older. And so now all these pieces that you see today are from my modern beadwork, whereas
Yeah.
when I was a child, it wasn't this much
Beautiful.
advanced.
Beautiful.
And Alicia, you've got some of your artwork on, but I know that
do.
you've got another item on your
do.
lap that maybe you could show the viewers as
Yes.
well to see
So-
what you do.
This
Look at that.
is it's
that-
painting with beadwork.
So
So
it's painting with
It
this. So it's
is.
painting.
Yeah.
You paint on the canvas.
little tiny dots. Yep, little tiny dots to look like beads, and then the centerpiece
Oh.
is beaded. Yep, this was actually for my fine arts degree. This was my final project, and really, it's what got me started into doing beadwork again. Was this centerpiece here? So
Do
I'm
you have a
really
name
proud.
for it at all?
I do, and it's a really long word, no Ojibwe, of which I
say it.
cannot pronounce.
You cannot?
I can't. It means beadwork. It means to bead
okay,
with hand.
okay.
Yes.
'Cause I figured
yes.
you would have a name. A lot of times I have names for my
Yes.
creations. So
Oh yes.
yes.
Yes. A lot of my stuff is in Ojibwe, and I do speak Ojibwe. I do. I speak it, and it's hard because it's a dying language. But
Oh.
you know, I took classes when I was younger, and then I did beadwork classes when I was younger. So I'm trying to help, revitalize my culture in whatever way that I can, and speaking the language and doing beadwork and
Now, it's
dancing.
Good. Oh, dancing too.
I do.
Oh, I
Now,
love
would you
that.
say that this has helped you to find your creative voice? Is this a part of your spiritualism?
Absolutely,
And a part of your self-expression of spirit?
Yes, absolutely, because like I said, it's very important that I think people realize that there's not a lot of Native people. I've
That's
gotten
right.
I've had people tell me, "Oh, you're Native. I thought they died."
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yes,
Oh, yeah, they believe they're dead.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, my word.
Yes. So it's very important when you show stuff like this to have it
Yes.
be known that somebody Native created this. It's not just like manufactured goods like you see in
The stores.
Claire's or like the stores and stuff.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You know, we were talking before we started. I had mentioned that I see bling, and we see it on your necklace.
Yes.
That I'd never thought of bling as being part of a Native
Yeah.
American piece of art, and you stated that that was more of the modern bent
It
to
is,
it.
yes.
And maybe you could even address that. We were talking as well. How long it took you, for example,
Yeah.
to create that beautiful piece of art around your neck.
So this is a medallion, and I have the earrings to match, which they're
Yes.
stuck in my hair a little bit, but they're there. And so a piece like this, I'm a pretty quick beater because I've been beading for a very long time. This probably took me about a month for just the necklace. Then I would say 2 weeks for the earrings. And that would be me working 8-hour days though. So
Oh, 8-hour days.
Yes.
Do you get, and for both of you, do you get like tendonitis or anything with your wrist?
I'm used to
Not
it.
yet.
I'm used to
Yeah.
it.
Well, you said not yet. Why you say not yet?
Well, just because I already have carpal tunnel
Oh,
from doing so
okay,
many different
sure.
mediums. Because when I
I
paint, I do
see.
like 4x4 foot paintings.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's my issue.
And how long did it take you to do this piece,
This
Blanca?
this piece is actually still ongoing. It's going to be made into a leather bag, an ethically sourced leather bag, of course.
A what?
Ethically sourced leather.
Ethically sourced leather.
So it's horse hide from a sanctuary where they save horses after they've been raced. They can't. They let them live their
Yes.
lives out there, and then they take their hide and make them into leather.
How did you find that resource?
There's a lot of resources online. Honestly, there's a lot of native-owned shops that will do their own hide. They'll do their own brain-tanned
Beautiful.
hide and sell it out, and just do it for the community and do it to generate income for that community.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of hidden stuff behind all the supplies that we use.
Yeah.
The resin cab centers, some are from like China, even some are from native-made people as well. So that's why we also like incorporate a lot of different items and everyday found pieces as well into our work.
Can I ask, do you teach this at all? Do you go to schools, or do you have your children, do you teach it to them? How are you passing this on?
So I personally, I have taught classes before. I actually did a workshop with Transfabulous earlier this year. And they're doing like a lot of workshops for trans folks to have safe spaces to come to, queer folks as well, straight folks as well, but activities just for the community to be more at ease with the trans community and to build community and, a safe space because there's so little safe space. Like me as a trans elder, I'm considered an elder because the average age for trans folks is 35. I'm 28.
Okay.
And you're an elder.
I'm an elder. I'm considered an
my
elder.
goodness. Oh, yes.
In the
You're an
trans
elder.
community, I'm
Oh.
considered an elder.
Really?
that's
Because
funny.
35 is the age where they die.
Really?
Is the usual age range for, yeah.
Wow.
It's abysmal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Very interesting. The culture. Your culture is very interesting.
And beautiful. And I think what I'm seeing is that this is a true expression that will echo into time, leaving a legacy even of you being here and expressing yourself in an indigenous way, almost a celebration of the ancestors.
Yes.
And
Oh,
the pieces
that's a
and things
good
that
way to
you
look at it.
are putting together, because we know that when we're creative, we're most like God, or we're most like, you know, the creative one.
Yeah.
You know, so this is good. This is beautiful. So in this, kind of going adjacent to what you were saying, there is a teaching that comes with this. So someone
Yes.
taught you.
Absolutely.
Someone
Yeah.
taught
And
exactly.
so can you talk a little bit about who taught you, and when they taught you, what was the mindset or the spirit they wanted you to have when you were doing this work, so that you were able to create this with love and with compassion, that it could tell its own story?
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that because I was taught by my elders. So the way I was taught was each piece is made and you make it in a good way. And that just means you don't have any negative thoughts when you make it. You're not under the influence of anything. You make it and you put your good energy into it. And also each of my pieces I was taught to add, they call it a spirit bead. And that just means a bead that's not supposed to be there. So maybe it's a red bead in a blue piece, or maybe it's, you know, a piece, a bead that's just not supposed to be there. And that's to teach that perfection, you know, there's never perfection. There's no such thing as
Right,
Oh,
perfection.
I like that.
Yeah, so I have a lot of teachings from learning from my elders. So I very much plan when I'm older to teach
absolutely.
the young ones. Yeah, I'd like to start doing that now, and I have
And you
been.
should.
Yeah, I have been kind of in the sense that I've been doing a lot of galleries around the Twin Cities lately, and so I have one later today. Yes. And a lot of these pieces are for galleries, and I have a lot of people telling me they've never seen beadwork before.
Oh my.
And so,
Really?
yeah, and so it's very cool to be able to bring, you know, my work, especially my traditional pieces with the flowers, because that is very traditional Ojibwe, but also more modern pieces like my unicorn or my sugar skull or even
What
my
about the
beaded
skull here?
Yeah, my
Can you
beaded
tell me a little
skull.
bit about that?
So that one is,
That is
very
so-
cool.
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
halfway done, but you know,
And
it still
open it
works.
up for us and everything.
Yeah.
Show us that.
So it's a real skull.
Oh, look at that.
Of
Isn't
what?
that cool? I don't remember exactly what it is. It's just a little creature.
Little creature.
Just a little creature.
You
yeah.
buy the skull?
That is so
Yes,
happy.
I buy the skull, and they're all sourced ethically. I actually get it from a place here in St. Paul. So they're all creatures that have either been roadkill or you know. So I've been taught to use every single item of
Yes.
whatever I have, and so I'm very proud to be using these skulls
Oh,
because
absolutely.
I'm using.
Is it finished? Is it finished?
It's not yet. I still
didn't
have
think
this
it was
side to
finished.
do, but this is actually huichol. This is the technique that they would use in Mexico, but I've added traditional Ojibwe floral onto it, so I've actually kind of combined our two cultures together with
I
this.
like
have
that.
eyes.
I
should.
am hearing a. Whoops, excuse me. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's right. Because my creativity is jumping all over the place. Sorry. But will it have eyes?
Yeah, no, I think it'd be really cool to get some eyes in there,
Yes,
wouldn't
I
that?
see that.
Yeah.
I see eyes somewhere there.
Definitely.
Oh, wow.
A theme I'm hearing between the two of you is the whole idea about ethical. You used that word, and I think that's the word you used. If that wasn't the word, it was what you were implying. And in my way of thinking, that's part of the indigenous spirituality. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
Can you say a little more about that?
It's definitely. Indigenousness has always been sustainability since day one. Day one, indigenous cultures all around the world reuse, recycle. We in like Asian countries, you know, they use like banana leaf to package their fruits and their vegetables, and that's how they just get rid of it afterwards. It goes back into the earth. There's no plastic, there's no styrofoam, you know, things like that. And especially like you have to remember that the largest population of activists right now for the environment are the indigenous people all around the world.
Yes,
Are all around
yes.
the world. So.
And I like how you were saying that you use mostly indigenous owned or indigenous product matter, which to me remains true and authentic to what it is that you're putting and creating. Speak of why it's important for you to research and look for organizations that really use indigenous matter, that really do use that model, like you said, to reuse, to recycle. You know, we don't throw anything away, which, you know, when we learn about our indigenous folks, that's one thing that we've always learned to appreciate, is that all the bones were used, all the hide was used, everything of the animal was used as a celebration of them being almost a gift to us.
Yeah, so actually my piece down there, the skull, that is an eagle feather. And for those that don't know, the only people that are able to possess eagle feathers are Native people, and that was gifted to me by my dad. And so a lot of the eagles are from the DNR. So the DNR will say this eagle was found on the side of the road, and so this is an eagle feather,
beautiful.
I believe, from the tail, or maybe from one of the wings from the inside, because they get the whole eagle. They get the whole eagle when they get it, and we use it for our dance regalia. So this is a hair clip. This is my dance regalia for my fancy shawl, and I do jingle dress dancing as well. Women traditionally in the fancy shawl, they wear one eagle feather in their hair, and it's usually always white. So, yeah.
And Blanca,
Very beautiful.
do you do some of the indigenous dancing that's specific to the Mexica Indigene group?
And when I lived in Mexico a few years ago, I did get into the Aztec dancing with with the bells and everything, because the word indigenous and like Aztec and Nahuatl is like a really varied meaning in Mexico, just because there were so many colonies in Mexico that were also colonized and just destroyed. We have, of our sacred texts, there are 3 books left in the world.
Oh, that's in the whole world?
That's all we have
Where are they kept?
in Mexico.
I hope they're locked up somewhere so nobody can get to them.
They're actually in the museum.
Oh,
In the
and it's a
museum.
sensitive for
sensitive.
you.
Yes,
Say
I'm
more
seeing
about
that.
Sorry, I mean,
That's all right, dear. That's all right.
we just don't have a written language anymore.
You don't.
That's right. That's
so
right.
nobody is trying to take it and write it a little more.
It's becoming a little bit more common, but honestly, with the way that it's set up, there's a lot of colonization still in Mexico. You turn on the news and like the anchors are all Spanish-speaking white people. You know, it's still colonization.
yes.
It's like huge colonization still going on. Like the Spaniards never left,
Yes, right.
and they still control a lot of the things going on down there.
So it's a loss. I mean, it's a loss of your heritage.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be painful.
Which is making a resurgence, of course, but it's like it's going to take time. Thank you. It's definitely going to take time, and definitely a lot of effort on like the new generations and the old generations to tell us like what exactly happened with them, because there were a lot of things in the 60s that also happened in Mexico, like children getting taken, land getting gobbled up by gold. Like it was a lot. My grandmother would tell me stories like there would be white men looking at her land like just with metal detectors just to see if they could find anything of value to pillage, and her family were farmers.
Wow.
And it was
Wow. So that's why this really has a sacred story behind it. This really is a passion that goes beyond the actual materials that you're creating. This is really a legacy that you're going and you're giving honor to what is happening in our world, which is so powerful with everything that is happening in our world, with a lot of indigenous girls going missing, not being able to be found,
Missing, murdered indigenous women.
Murdered and kidnapped indigenous women. So this really is a collection of celebration, and honoring of all of the ways that we have
the
survived.
ancestors.
Yes.
Honoring the ancestors. This is just.
And I'm so glad that Minnesota has started the task force on missing.
I saw that.
Beautiful.
They signed that in. Yep.
yes.
You said that you are a Two-Spirit woman, and maybe, I'm not sure if everybody's familiar exactly with what Two-Spirit means. I know that it's a term that's used. The only times I've seen it used is with indigenous populations. I'm not sure if it's used by others, but maybe you could just talk a little bit about how your Two-Spirit and being a transgender woman, how that plays into your artwork.
Yeah, definitely. So, Two-Spirit is a term that is used exclusively by the indigenous community because trans is a Eurocentric word that was only created up until recently. So Two-Spirit is more involving, more of an umbrella term. There's more specific terms in other tribes, depending on where you go. Even in like South America, sometimes a boy will grow up to be a woman and then they'll have that relationship and be the caretaker for a family full of men. Like it happens. So it definitely plays into my jewelry because with like some of these examples, like this guy here, this pair of earrings,
It's beautiful.
you know, they have different colors, they have like gems, they have gold beads on them, things like that. And that's a play on both masculinity and femininity with the power that you see coming through the earring as well.
So you're incorporating some of the bling, I'm going to call it, and I don't mean disrespect if I'm using the word bling, as well as you. So you're seeing that then in both of your cultures,
Yeah.
that the bling is being used more. So are you seeing more and more women, or do you ever see any men that
Absolutely.
do this?
There's this beader, Elias Not Afraid. He's one of my favorite beaders. He's Two-Spirit. He wins a lot of awards for his beadwork, but it's also very like
very lovely.
modern, and he'll have spikes in his work. But you know, he's from the South, so his beadwork style is a little bit different. They're more known for their patterns.
Like geometric patterns.
Okay.
So he'll have his patterned work, but he's a wonderful beader. There's a lot of wonderful beaders out there that are trying to pave the way with the bling and making it more modern, you know?
What do you mean by spikes?
Like, I don't know how to describe them.
I know.
Yeah,
like the punk spikes.
like punk spikes.
Yeah, like punk rocker spikes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Now
about.
let me ask you this: with the beading and the patterns, I know with African American culture, we had quilts, and we would use quilts to show ways to freedom. Right? We would quilt in the different ways to freedom or the different ways to the water, so that we could pass this on. We would do patterns of the land. Now, with your beading and with other beading, do you know if there's any patterns of the land, or maybe the way that the corn, the patterns of the way the corn was raised, or just different, almost like a memory of what the land looked like before it was colonized?
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you know, or anyone that has done that you know of, that kind of does patterns or beading of the land and the way the land looked?
Yeah, I graduated with one of my degrees in Native Studies, and one of them was Native Art. And so we studied that. Not a lot of people actually did beadwork. I mean, it was brought here by the Europeans. Actually, the beads were European beads, and we would trade them because they were high, they're high caliber items. So we would trade them, and it would go across the nation, so you could actually see from California to New York, because they'd start in California or they'd start, on one end, but then the beads would get darker because certain people would pick up the lighter colored beads as they'd go. And so you can actually see a lot of the beadwork. They would do just things to memorialize people, land, a lot of just really sacred things. And it's really cool to just see that history over time.
Are there certain places that you buy your beads? I mean, are they also, you just don't go into a bead store and say, I like these colors and buy them? Or are there places that are specific? I guess I'm just thinking, because you've got so much spirituality and heritage in your beading, it's maybe wouldn't be like a white person who just likes to bead. So what I'm wondering is there a certain place that you buy these?
We both do, actually. We both buy our stuff at a Native-owned business.
Are those beads different than regular beads? I mean, I don't...
There's many different types of beads. Blanca, do you have any of your Delica work up here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Little guys.
so she likes to use these Delica beads, these really tiny beads, that are
They're even more precise.
yeah,
and
they're
the-
more
Ooh,
precise.
they are tiny.
Yeah, they're cylindrical even.
So they're a little bit
Okay.
different than that piece that she showed right here.
Okay, wow.
They're different sizes, they're different colors, they're different types, there's different
Finishes.
finishes, and we like to collect them all because, you know,
Variety.
gotta have a variety.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
probably have like 1,000 beads. I don't want to
Oh,
count,
wow.
honestly.
Now it sounds like you did some stuff at the state fair.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, I
Yeah. So
did.
now let's talk about these. You got some pictures right here.
There's
Yes.
something underneath there that I think we need to
I
kind of
think
talk.
they're the same.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're the same.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So picture number one, you have some different beading and stuff there.
Yeah. Actually, in that picture, that is it's the like, they have different themes, and that theme was actually a native themed whole. So you can actually see some other pieces in there. Some of them are beaded, some of them are dolls. I believe there's a necklace
Yes.
down there that's
I see a
beaded.
doll, yeah.
Yeah, so my work was amongst that. I got third place. I entered in 3 different categories. I got third place this year.
Beautiful. Congratulations.
Yes, that's
Thank you.
great.
Yeah, so it's really nice to actually bring my work to the Minnesota State Fair again because people don't see beadwork. I mean, there's a category for beadwork, and I think only like 10 people entered out of all of Minnesota.
Really?
There's only 10 pieces, yeah. And I don't see a lot of indigenous names on there either.
Wow.
Well,
So
good thing you are there.
I know.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very proud to have my work shown there and very proud to have pieces there to show the public that beadwork's still alive. Natives are still alive.
Now number two, it looks like there is a clown face. Did you
Yes.
bead that?
I see
Yes,
that,
I
yes.
did.
Talk about
so
that.
that is Pennywise. It is kind of a part of the modern beadwork that I'm trying to bring. I'm trying to bring some modern symbolism to beadwork because I'm a modern woman.
Yeah.
You didn't bring that. You didn't bring that at all.
No, that is at my art show later.
And number three, it looks like all of kind of the 2 pieces that we have here,
Yes.
just
Yes.
missing the clown
Just
piece.
missing the clown,
And
yeah.
so this eagle won a prize.
Yes, yeah, that is an anemone, so it's a thunderbird. But if you look closely, you can actually see it's a sugar skull. So again,
Sugar skull. What do you
yep,
mean by
it's
that?
got
Sugar
2
skull.
eyes, and it's in the center. It's got a nose, and then the
Yes.
bottom, the tips of its wings are the teeth.
Yes.
So that's again. I travel to Mexico yearly, twice a year, and I do get a lot of influence from the beadwork that's down there as well.
course.
Yes.
We could talk to you forever with this.
Blanca, when you are saying that this piece is not completed and it will end up being a bag?
A leather bag, yeah.
Okay, so will there be additional beading with the bag
Yes.
then as well?
Yes,
So you're not done.
yes, I'll have to sew the corners of the bag together and then sew beads onto that
Just
as
like
well.
this
one.
So that it'll all be done
Okay.
together.
Can I pick that up,
And
would you?
Yeah.
oh, that's lovely.
So it'll have that closed border like that.
Turn it around so we
wow.
can see it.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Well, here we are, out of time, way too soon. It's always fun when we get so engaged with our guests that time just goes faster than what we
Yeah.
want. So I want to thank the two of you so much
Yes.
for not only
Thank you
being
so much.
present here, but bringing your beautiful artwork. Thank you very much. And thank you, Candy, and thank you, Jamila.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And thank you for joining us on It's a Woman's World.